Welcome back to State of the Union. Millions of refugees already escaped Ukraine over its western border to Poland, and more are trying to do that. But that area outside Lviv was the target of Russian strikes this weekend, just 11 miles from the border with Poland, and that's raising fears in Europe this morning. With me from Poland, just 19 miles away from that bombing, is Ukraine caucus co-chair, Republican Senator Rob Portman. Senator, thank you so much for joining me. I want to start with that missile strike, again, at just 19 miles from where you are. What are you hearing about the attack, and how worried are you about how close it came to the border of a NATO ally?
It's concerning that it was a Western Ukraine attack. They have typically been in the south and in the east and around Kyiv, so the people who were here on the border could hear it, even though it's 15 miles away. Also, Dana, as you know, we are meeting with refugees here as they come over. 100 a minute are coming over from Ukraine. A number of them were from Lviv, this city that was just bombed last night. They decided this morning, after having been bombed through the night, that they were going to leave. So it's also leading, obviously, to more refugees coming across the border. But it's very sad. You know, it's very emotional. People talking about their homes being destroyed, talking about having to leave their loved ones behind. A lot of grandmothers with grandchildren. You know, people are just distraught. And the message they're giving us is loud and clear, as you can imagine, which is close the skies. Because the skies are where the bombs are coming, whether it's the missile attacks or the airplane attacks or the artillery. They want help, and you know, the Ukrainians who we talked to today are obviously desperate, trying to find their way right now with the hope to go home someday, but really no assurance, and they are really looking for more help.
Well, I know that you have been urging the U.S. to help Ukraine get fighter jets through and from Poland, and they were going to do it through a U.S. airbase. But you just heard Jake Sullivan mention that the intelligence community assessment is that that move would risk an escalation. Are you worried that giving those planes to Ukraine could actually trigger World War III?
I don't know why that would be true. You know, the Russians have complained about everything. Vladimir Putin has said that the sanctions are an act of war. They certainly complained when we provided Stingers directly from the U.S. government, which can knock down an airplane and have been successful in doing that at lower altitudes. We have given them helicopters. As recently as January, we provided them U.S. military helicopters, and those are directly from the United States. In this case, this would be Poland providing these airplanes, which are Soviet-style planes, old planes, MiG-29s. There are also two other countries, Slovakia and Bulgaria, that have these airplanes. What we've heard directly from the Ukrainians is they want them badly. They want the ability to have better control over the skies in order to give them a fighting chance. So I don't understand why we're not doing it. We initially gave it a green light, as you know, last weekend. The Secretary of State said it was going to get a green light, and for some reason now we're blocking it. So I don't understand why this is any worse than, from a Russian point of view, than other things
isn't the issue
we've already done or that we're talking about.
Isn't the issue that they would go through an American air base, Ramstein, and that is what is seen as an escalation? I mean, I've certainly heard that from military sources. I'm sure you have.
Well, again, we've sent lots of weaponry through military bases. In fact, we were just with the 82nd Airborne last night, who are here in Poland, thank God, and they're doing a terrific job. But this is what we've been doing all along. So I don't see that change. I do think that what Jake Sullivan said today is encouraging in the sense that he talked about at least providing providing Ukraine with the anti-aircraft systems they need to be able to better protect themselves. We've already provided those for Poland, the Patriot system. But the systems he's talking about are probably also these Soviet-era systems like the S-300, which is not the top of the line, but is very effective still. And again, Poland and other former Warsaw Bloc countries have these. So at a minimum, let's get those into Ukraine, and let's stop talking about it and let's do it. But the airplanes are also essential. And to me, you know, Vladimir Putin and the Russians seem to be saying everything is escalatory, and yet they are escalating every single day by coming into Ukraine with these weapons. There's discussion as you know, of them using vacuum bombs and cluster bombs against civilian targets. This is an illegal, this is a brutal, totally unprovoked attack, and increasingly they're choosing civilian targets. So as they escalate, what the Ukrainian people are asking for is just the ability to defend themselves. Give them the ability to try to stop some of this Russian superiority in terms of air power, to be able to save lives and hopefully end up with a peaceful solution to this. If we don't figure out a way to help Ukraine push back, that's much less likely.